A very good morning, my dear students. Welcome back. Today will be the last video session for the portion that is there in your unit test 3. So in the previous video session we have discussed about refraction of light through a rectangular glass slab. Today we will be discussing about refraction of light through a prism, triangular prism. Now our triangular prism is formed by three rectangular faces. Three rectangular faces, that is, here is one, here is one, and the base is the another, right? And those three rectangular faces join to form two triangular faces, and the angle that the rectangular faces form when they are placed like this is called the angle of prism, right? So a triangular prism is formed of three rectangular faces and two triangular faces. Right? And the rectangular faces out of the three, the two rectangular faces out of the three rectangular faces, the two rectangular faces which are placed at like this, they act as the refracting surface. Okay? And the angle of the prism is denoted as capital A. Now since this is made of glass, when a light ray traveling through air enters the glass, it will get reflected because of the difference in the optical density of the medium. So if we take a prism and just draw its triangular face, because the side of the rectangular face, this is one side of the rectangular face, this side of the rectangular face acts as the refracting surface. So let us consider a light ray traveling through air. This is glass, which is denser. A light ray traveling through air strikes at the separating surface. Now if you draw a normal, the angle that the refracting incident light ray makes is the incident angle of incidence. Then we know that when light travels from an optically rarer to an optically denser medium, it will bend, it will not follow its original path. It will not follow its original path, rather it will bend towards the normal. Right? It will bend towards the normal. Okay? Now, this is the first angle of refraction that is made by the refracted light ray inside the glass prism with the normal. Now when this light ray strikes here, this becomes the incident light ray for the second refracting surface. So this is the first refracting surface and this is the second refracting surface, and this is my angle of the prism. Now when this light ray strikes the second refracting surface, this light ray then becomes the incident light ray for the second refracting surface, and the angle that it makes, let us name it as R2. Okay. Now, when it will emerge from the glass, it again moves from denser medium to a rarer medium. That means it will move away from the normal. And this is the emergent ray. This is the incident ray. This is the refracted ray inside the glass. And the angle that the emergent ray makes with the normal is called the angle of emergence. Okay? The angle that the emergent ray makes with the normal is called the angle of emergence. Now just think, the light ray, instead of following its original path, has got deviated like this, isn't it? The light ray, instead of following the original path, got deviated at an angle. So if we produce this emergent light ray backwards, this is the angle by which it got deviated. So this angle is called the angle of deviation. This angle is called the angle of deviation. Just have a close look at this diagram and try to understand what has happened and how it has happened, or why has it happened. Okay, so this is the angle of the prism. When the incident light ray strikes the first refracting surface, it bends towards the normal, and again when it strikes the second refracting surface, it bends away from the normal, and the light ray which would have followed this path got deviated at an angle, which is the angle of deviation denoted by this sign. This sign is called delta. Okay. Now, there is a relationship between the angle of incidence the angle of emergence, the angle of the prism, and the angle of the deviation. That is, angle of incidence plus angle of emergence is equal to angle of the prism plus the angle of the deviation. Children, please remember, the angle of the incidence plus the angle of emergence. This is the angle of incidence, this is the angle of emergence, and this is the angle at which the light ray got deviated. That is, it has showed angular deviation. It has showed angular deviation. Okay, and the angle between the incident ray and the emergent ray here is called the angle of the deviation, right? So in case of a prism, we see that the light ray do not get parallelly displaced, do not show lateral displacement, it shows angular displacement. Understood? So it has shown angular deviation, and this is the relationship between the angle of incidence, angle of emergence, that is the sum of the angle of incidence and the angle of emergence is equal to sum of the angle of the prism and the angle of deviation. Now, the deviation, the rate of the deviation depends on two factors, that is wavelength of the light, which is denoted by this symbol lambda, and speed of light. Wavelength of the light and speed of the light. Okay. Now, there is an inverse relationship there is an inverse relationship between the angle of deviation and these two. That is, more the wavelength or more is the speed of light in a particular medium, less will be the angle of deviation. Okay. Now, let us consider white light. Now, white light is not a particular one colored light. It is actually a mixture of 7 colors, which is written by this acronym. This is an acronym, VIII: violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. Now, out of this, violet has the least wavelength, red has the maximum wavelength, right? So, and all the colors have different wavelengths and they travel at different speeds. So, whenever light, a particular color of light travels with a different speed, its path is must to get deviated. That means when white light is struck, when white light is striking the refracting surface inside the glass prism, it will get reflected, or it will get refracted into 7 different colors, because their wavelengths are different, their speed is different. And when they will emerge out of the prism as 7 colors of light. So, is the prism actually producing the 7 colors of light? No. It is just the medium through which the 7 colors of white light is getting refracted. Right? So, the 7, it will form a spectrum. It will form a spectrum of 7 colors. A spectrum means a band of 7 different colors that is emerging out of the prism. So it will form a spectrum of 7 colors of light, where we will see that red, since red has maximum wavelength and red travels with maximum speed, gets minimum deviation. Red color deviates the least. You must remember. Red deviates the least. That is, red shows minimum angle of deviation, and violet deviates the most. Now, why does red color deviates the least? Because its wavelength is maximum and its speed is also more, and violet, its wavelength is minimum out of these 7 colors and its speed is also the least out of the 7 colors of light. So, red deviates the least. Red usually does not, means the angle through which red color deviates is very less. But the angle through which violet color will deviate, that is the most. So, red shows minimum refraction. But violet shows maximum refraction or maximum deviation. Understood? Now this phenomenon due to which white light gets split into 7 different colors when traveling through a prism. This phenomenon is called dispersion of white light. And since red color deviates the least and its speed of travel is also maximum, that is why you must have seen that as a danger signal, red color is used for stopping a train or any such danger signals. Red color is used. Why? Because the color red, even if it suffers refraction, it will suffer minimum refraction and it will reach the eyes of the observer much faster than any other colors of light. Okay, so this will be all for today's class, children. And the final topic that has been discussed for your unit test 3. Go through your book thoroughly and also practice the ray diagrams and also practice the different uh, what to say topics, the lessons. Get the lessons clear in your mind and try to submit the assignments on time, and also prepare yourselves for the test and give your 100% and give your best in your unit test 3. My all best wishes are with you. Thank you children for attending the class.